So, if you guys have been keeping up with stuff that's going on online, you probably noticed that Destiny has now been he's been demonetized off of Twitter and suspended off of Kick. So, before this was happening, I was actually thinking about this subject, I think, and then this occurrence had maybe spurred me on to want to talk about it some. So I was thinking about the idea of like, is there anything like unique that Destiny did to draw the ire of people? And I don't think there's a lot, but I feel like there might be at least one thing. So I feel like he could have made fun of Donald Trump and spoken in, shall we say, not unkind terms about the assassin and the assassination attempt. And he could have gotten away with that in the public eye. Now, as far as terms of service, that's probably a part of what got him into trouble. But as far as the court of public opinion is concerned, I think he could have done that and been okay. And with regards to that, he's not even that unique. I think there's been a lot of people who've been talking about stuff like that, right? People are probably saying, well, it's kind of distasteful and reckless. We don't want assassination attempts to become a norm, or the adulation of assassins, consequently, to become normalized either. But I think he would have been okay. Going one step further, making fun or speaking in disparaging terms about the value of the lives of those who actually went to the convention or the rally itself, I feel like that was one step further and pissed off maybe more people, right? But still not that unique. I think people would have thought it was kind of a scummy move on his part, but I still think he would have been okay after that. I think the thing that maybe ticked the most people off, and perhaps was the most unique about what he did in this scenario, was what you would consider the specific targeting of the individual who died, and by extension the family who is mourning the loss of their husband and father. I think that was what was beyond the rabbit-proof fence for a lot of people. Completely unacceptable. And it made me kind of think less of him as well, because in times past, he's seemed to be, and in fact, maybe even presented himself somewhat as a person who cared about people, individuals, that is, regardless of their, maybe the political bent. And him maybe like making light of that specific part of this whole scenario, it made me think less of him as a individual. Apart from that, there was another thing I think that might have played into this a little bit as well. I had mentioned a while back in a video about Candace Owens that when stuff starts to happen, it changes people's perception of the conversation surrounding that, right? And I think that's perhaps a part of what went into this. Like, when something actually occurs, it changes people's perception of the comedy that's directed at that subject and the rhetoric that's directed at the subject. Right? So at this point in time, I could probably make a joke or talk about flat earthers and be like, okay, well, if they're so serious about the world being flat, maybe they should start taking down flights that are going across the South Pole, right? At this point, it's all fun and games. But if they actually start taking down flights, it's no longer fun and games, right? At what point does it become incitement? At what point does it become enabling? See, I think a week ago, Destiny could have made these jokes about Trump and assassination attempts against Trump and probably come out clean as a whistle, pretty much. But an assassination attempt it happened. It actually happened. And now people look at that whole scenario very, very differently, right? At what point does it become incitement? At what point does it become enabling? Did the person get the idea from you? Did they get it from someone else? Maybe. Could be either thing. Did the person get the information from you? Did they get the information from someone else? At what point does it become kind of like complicity? Right? And I don't even necessarily know if it's a good or a bad thing that people have this like change of perception when something actually occurs. I think in large part it might even be involuntary, just maybe some sort of primal, okay, the guilty party is the person who doesn't look sad at the wake. But I think it's what happens. Anyways, Thanks for watching. If you liked the video, please press the like button, subscribe, and leave a comment if you want to.